Well, hey there. How you doing? Dave Fennoy here. Another Wednesday. And that, of course, means another Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. Got a lock out of place. What's wrong with you, lock? Get where you're supposed to be. You know, you have to talk to him. I don't know why. Anyway, another Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. Missed last week. I had a gig to do. And I wanted to do my first one back in the studio. Just you and me. So here we are. Pop in, say hello. A couple reminders, of course. The Ask Dave Fennoy Anythings live on my YouTube channel, Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training. This will be there when we're done, as all the others are. If you are interested in getting some voiceover training from me, davefennoy.com. Click on the Study VO tab. And by the way, you can click on the Study VO tab, and then there's a Workshop tab, and you can click on the workshop, Voice Acting for Video Games, that I am doing coming up October 21st and 22nd. It's a Saturday and a Sunday. Oh, you know what? Let's just pull it up. There it is. It's a Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 5, and you will learn how to create those grounded, cinematic, believable performances that the industry is looking for. You'll learn how to play the scene and not just the words. You'll learn how to get more out of doing less. Well, actually, you're doing more, but you're doing it beforehand, so you don't have to do it after. And you'll free yourself from the tyranny of words and punctuation. You'll eliminate those reedy reads. It will be believable. And we'll have a lot of fun with the efforts and so much more. Now, there's only 2 spots left for people who want to do the whole kit and caboodle. Read, be critiqued. If you want to be a fly on the wall, lots of seats left. If you want to do the whole thing, one of those 14 spots, once again, 2 left. It's $375 for the 2 days. If you want to be a fly on the wall, it's $100. And there, right there, on the screen is the QR code to get you there. Get enough chance to get that? You got it? Oh, good. And on days like today, when it's just you and I like to take a little time to say hello. So let's see who's here. There's, Strange Productions. How are you? I'll make that a little smaller. Strange Productions. Not a name, but I bet it is a person. Let's see. Jeremy Adams. How you doing, Jeremy? Hey there, Dave, he says. Good to see you there. I don't remember seeing you before there, but hey, maybe you were and I just didn't know about it. Let's see. Annabelle, hello. Excited to hear your insights and wisdom. Well, thank you, Annabelle. I hope I come up with good insights and lots of wisdom. And a standby, my good friend Terry Briscoe. And not only does he say hello to me, he says hello to the whole ADFA family. Devon Entity. Good evening, Mr. Fennoy. Why, thank you. That was so formal. And let's look at one more here. Hello, Mr. Fennoy. I've been a big fan of yours for many pieces of fiction, and I'm a good pal of our mutual Stacy. How are you? Well, Jeopardy Alpha Mac, I'm doing just fine. Wanted to talk about a number of things today. Some, one's really just off of voiceover in general. It's just about humanity, the cruelty of man towards his fellow man, what just happened in Israel. You don't have to agree with the Israeli government. You don't have to. Let me just say this. The things that were done to those people, just shot down in the street, men, women, and children, people being butchered. Whoever you are, you don't have the right. There's no justification. Now, I'm going to add a little bit to this that's maybe a little controversial. I know the Israelis are going to want to remember this. They're going to call it out. They're going to fight. As well they should. Um, this will go down in history, as Netanyahu said. There are other things that we want to remember. I remember when I was a kid, you heard remember the Alamo a lot. We're not hearing that too much anymore. We remembered 9/11, and I've heard it compared to 9/11. In so many ways, it was much more horrific, much smaller country, many fewer people. It seems like you hear the stories that everybody in Israel knew somebody that was killed or kidnapped, or knew somebody that was killed or kidnapped. Wasn't necessarily the same when we lost 3,000 some odd people in 9/11. That was horrific too. But if we're going to remember those things, we need to remember all the horrific things, no matter who committed them and against whom, and remind ourselves that this is not who we should be as human beings. There is a big push in America right now to forget certain history. Want to remember some, but want to forget others. And I don't think it helps us heal as a nation to pick and choose what we're going to teach the truth about. We need to teach the truth. We need to know who we really are, where we really came from, so we have an idea as opposed to just pushing it under the rug because you feel like it's going to make you or your kids or somebody uncomfortable. History is not there to make you feel good about yourself. History is there to learn from. History is there to know the truth. Welcome to any comments that you want on that as we talk about other things. I'm going to say hello to a few more people here. Let's see. Mr. Perses. Hello, Mr. Fennoy, and hello to you. Don Falato. Hello, thank you for hosting us. I'll be joining the class in a week and a half. I'm so excited. Well, Don, I'm going to be excited to have you there, and it's going to be so informative, and we're going to have a lot of fun. A week or so ago, I did one. It was a smaller version of the class for my agent, and they keep knocking on the door to get me to do more, and I will. But looking forward to doing this class because so often I'm teaching for somebody else. Michael Glover, welcome to your new studio. I know you're excited. You know, it's the old studio, but it is new. It's absolutely new. It's a different color. It's just nice and clean. I haven't finished that side of the room yet, but everything that I have to do for working is done. Mic's up, sound absorption is up, desk in place. All my drawers are filled with all the stuff I need. Got my water close by. Oh, man. And it's quiet. Doesn't matter what's going on outside. If the dogs are barking outside, I don't hear it. Whereas in that upstairs bedroom, everything. Cars driving by, people walking by, talking, dogs barking, leaf blowers blowing. Oh, it was a mess. It was a mess. Let's see. Jeopardy Alpha Mac. We're upset with what happened in Israel. We're all just human, and those two countries have fought since ancient times. They have fought since ancient times, but so much of this is because in 1948, what was Palestine suddenly became Israel. You had a whole country of people displaced. And I think Israel should have a country, but I don't think necessarily that the Palestinians should have just been moved out and told, oh, it's not your country anymore. I don't know how you fix that. They've been trying to fix it for years. But certainly having an attack on civilians at a music festival, in their homes, killing men, women, and children of all ages, old people, young people, middle-aged people, children, babies. That ain't the way. That ain't the way. Alex McKeel. I was in New York on 9/11. The thing I remember most was the smell and the sounds. Um, well, I wasn't there. I was here in California, and I remember waking up and I turned on the TV, and you're going about your day. You're not really paying attention to the news. It's just on, so you hear what's happening, and suddenly I hear a report about a plane flying into a building. My immediate thought was, "Ooh, that pilot really screwed up. This is an accident. It's horrible." And then another plane flew into a building, and another plane flew into a building, and sometime later, uh, the buildings fell. Uh, yeah, it was horrific, but got a new horror now. Let's see. Devon, I just met you at the expo at Magic Johnson Park. Hey, Devon, how you doing? Hope I have time to jump on these more often. Absolutely, absolutely, Devon. Glad you stopped by. Oh, thank you, Terry. The studio looks great. It does feel kind of great. I in the studio before, I just had a gym over there and junk. I sold the gym. I will have some weights and stuff that I'll still work with, but I brought some of my African art collection down here, and when I'm done with that, I'll take some pictures and show. But there's going to be a couch in there and a television on the wall over there, and it'll be kind of a different kind of man cave than I used to have. Uh, but it'll be Dave's place for sure. Let's see, Jeopardy Alpha Mac again. Let's hope so. Devon. Oh yeah, and Mr. Fennoy, you can call me Dave. The room looks great so far. I would say one of the many heroes of mine. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Much appreciated. Um, and let's see. I heard the displacement. I watched the video detailing how far and how big the conflict for those places had been. Yeah, we are talking. Somebody mentioned this goes back hundreds, if not thousands, of years. It does. Um, and what's kind of amazing, it's the people there actually are brothers. Now, who were there originally? A lot of Europeans that came from Europe to Israel now. But you're talking about people who are the same people. They just have a few different beliefs. And it's very sad to me that religion has separated so many people. And what it really is, it's not actually the religion, if you think about it. It's if this group has power over this group or wants to take things away from this group, they're basing it on the thing that's not like me. Okay, you're not like me, therefore I can justify me doing anything to you. We got to get over that. I know a lot of us are in the belief system that my religion is the one true way to God. I have a hard time believing that just a couple thousand years ago, after man's been on the planet for as many thousands of years as he's been here, that suddenly the one true religion is revealed. Can't buy it. Can't buy it. Let's see. Yuri G. Lover. Didn't realize you upgraded your studio. It looks great, Dave. Don't fall asleep in there. I know I would. Right now, there's no place comfortable to fall asleep. But when the couch gets in here, in between auditions and gigs, let me just kick back. I'll turn on the TV and watch it until it's watching me. Yeah, it's very comfortable down here. I'm really digging it. Don Filato, so true. We need each other. Some of the people who've been out in space, Captain Kirk, One of the things he said, and what all of the astronauts have said who've been out in space, when you look back at the planet from outer space, you don't see the borders, you don't see the people or any differences. You see one planet, there's a lot of water, there's some land, uh, and all kinds of life here. Uh, and we ought to be able to get along. I think most of us, most of the time, do. But we really need to be careful of those people who are trying to drive us apart and driving us apart. Let's see, the official mimic. I feel like at the end of it all, try not to be jerks to each other and you'll be golden no matter what happens. Just makes sense. And I agree, that's kind of what I'm saying. But what happens, unfortunately, is when you start hearing the language of that group, they're dirt, they're scum, they're worthless, they're evil, they're insert terrible description here. Once you start hearing people dehumanize a group, you know that person's going down the wrong track. Unfortunately, as human beings, all too often we fall prey. It's happening in this country right now. The reason we're having so many problems in Congress, in the Senate, with our government now, is because we've been demonizing each other. I'm not going to say, well, I think one party right now is better than the other. I don't think that's necessarily always been the case. But we're in a world now where this country, which has been looked at as a leader on the world stage, suddenly, because of a Matt Gaetz who, had to stick up his butt and decided, let's get rid of this guy. And I'm not saying the guy didn't deserve to be gotten rid of, McCarthy. But now Congress can't do anything. They can't even seem to get a new leader. And the government needs to govern. Notice I did not say rule. The government needs to govern. They are supposed to be doing things for our benefit. They're not right now. Anyway, let's talk some voiceover. We can get back to this. I had a student today, and when he signed on, he's just getting started in this. He's dipping his toe in the water. And when he signed on today, he said, "Do you mind if we just talk today?" And I went, "No, you'd be surprised how many people don't necessarily want to do reads all the time. They want to talk about, how do I make this work?" And he told me he had a job that was taking 8 or 9 hours a day and a commute, and that he was finding it difficult to find time to put in the work he needs to put in to become the voiceover actor that he wants to become. And I recall when I was starting out, I think I was very blessed. I had been an actor as a child, a musician in my late teens and early 20s. Then I became a disc jockey. I had to read copy. And when I decided to go into voiceover, it was coming out of radio. I took a class. Well, I took a lot of private lessons, and then a workshop with an agent from Los Angeles. And at the end of it, she said, "Oh, you're really talented. If you ever want to come to LA, we'd love to represent you." She gave me her card. Took the card, but I was the morning jock at the #1 station in town at the time. So I was like, "Oh yeah, thank you. That's great." 3 months later, the station fired me. And I was able to find that card, give her a call, and she says, "Put a new demo together and come on down." Well, I had a little money saved, and I had family down here. Still, it wasn't easy. I drove back and forth between Northern and Southern California for about 8 or 9 months. I'd drive down on Sunday night or Monday morning, drive back on Friday night or Saturday morning. I stayed with an uncle for a month. I stayed with a buddy of mine that I'd gone to high school with for a month. Then I shared an apartment with another buddy of mine from from San Francisco that was doing the same thing. Still, I think I had it pretty easy because I came down with representation. I came down starting to audition, which really is our work. It's not what we get paid for, but it's how we achieve bookings. So many people are working a 9 to 5, have decided this is what they want to do. They find a love for it in their heart and a belief that they can, and have to figure it out. Where am I going to find the time? How am I going to buy the equipment? Because when I was coming through, didn't need to buy equipment, didn't need to have a home studio. I'm glad I came into this business when I came into this business, because those of you who have started out in the last 10 years have had to do a lot more. Not only did you have to learn how to be that good voice actor, but you've had to learn how to, you've had to, one, pay for the equipment, and then learn how to use it. And get your room together so that it sounds right. It can feel pretty daunting. I'm just going to say this, though. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. What I ended up saying to this young man, and he had several questions. One of the things he said to me is, "Oh, it just seems so hard. There's so much to do." And I said, "Well, let me ask you something. Is there anything that you really want to do that's not going to take some effort, that you won't have to overcome something to make that dream come true?" And he goes, "Oh, well, you got a good point." The last thing in the world you want to do when you get to my age and older, and maybe even not my age, maybe if you're 20, maybe at 40, you don't want to feel like you didn't do what you wanted to do, that thing that really was the burning passion, and you didn't take a shot because any number of reasons, but a lot of times it's because the people who love you told you not to, and you listened to them. I was hearing an interview with a rapper the other day. Don't remember what his name was, but I remember what he said. When he started rapping, he said, "I didn't even tell my mom. I didn't tell anybody. I just did it because I didn't want to hear any negativity. I didn't want to hear from people I love and respect that now I'm going to have to disagree with, that I'm going to have to be in conflict with." It's a thought. But whatever it is that you want that's worthwhile isn't just going to be handed to you. You're going to have to go through something. If it were easy, everybody would do it. The other question, am I good enough? Almost nobody is when they start. Sometimes you have a dream, you want to do this thing, and you're really not that good yet. When I started radio, I'd gotten out of college. I'd gotten married, had a kid, and the music thing, I guess, well, I'm not going to grow up to be a rock and roll star anymore. I'll go into radio because that'll keep me close to music. That was the thought that went through my mind. I thought I was ready. I took a little 6-month course from Columbia School of Broadcasting. We moved to the Bay Area from Washington, D.C., where we'd both gone to Howard University, with a 6-month-old baby. And I started knocking on doors in San Francisco at the major state. Hi, I'm Dave Fennoy. I put my demo together here at Columbia School of Broadcasting. I'm ready to get hired. Well, nobody was going to hire me then. I had to take a longer route to get into the radio. But whether you feel like you're ready now or not, chances are you're not ready if you're just starting out. You got to get that training so that you will be better. And I promise you, once you get in the water and start swimming, and you do this job and that job and those jobs, you will get better. You will get better. There's a jumping off point. Got to get to that, but you will get better. Let's see. Terry's got a paragraph here or so. I'm having a similar dilemma. I'm booking more frequently to the point where it's keeping me from doing other business full time, but not paying enough to say goodbye to doing it all together. And you know what? You're going to have to figure out when you take that leap of faith. One of the things I told this young man that I was talking to today, the job he's on, he doesn't like. He's good at it, but it doesn't reward him. I said, well, first of all, save your money. Put your money away. Don't buy that new car and get stuck with that car note. Don't get into the more expensive apartment. Not that any of them are not expensive now. Save your money. So when that opportunity is handed to you, you have something to fall back on in between. Because none of us start at the top. None of us get our demo and the next day we're working. It's going to take time to build a career. And I'm going to tell you from experience, you will go up and you will go down. And you will go up and you will go down. That is just the way the business is. Now, your up and down may be between, oh, God, I made $125,000 last year, and next year I made $250,000. Oh, damn, now I'm back down to $100,000. That may be your up and down, as opposed to thinking, oh, well, I'm making nothing and now I'm making a lot. But we have this tendency to spend what we make. So if you're making X amount of dollars for a year or two, well, I can afford a house that's this and a car that's that. And often that's a mistake to think that this is the way this amount of money is always going to be coming in. Be prepared. Save your money. Live below your means. Let's see. Mike Cunningham, this is good stuff for people to hear, Dave. Important to hear it come from someone like you. Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. And that's why I'm sharing it. I've had ups and downs. There was when the economy crashed in 2008, I crashed. I had contracts I was working under, and my three biggest clients went away, and it was a mess. I had to sell my house, move into a condo, and I didn't know how I was going to recover. There were a few months of really worry. I think what you have to understand is, we don't always know where that blessing is going to come from. If you are talented and you keep your focus and you keep punching that ticket, keep auditioning, you don't know where your blessing is going to come from. My blessing came, one, I started picking up work that I had been doing, similar work, a lot of promos. At that point, a few video games and cartoons, where I been doing more before, but now it was coming back as the economy was coming back. And I went to a party. And my now wife, then girlfriend, it was down the street from my mama's house. And it was one of her girlfriends. And sat on the couch next to this guy, and he just looked like a sad sack. And he didn't look like he was having a good time. Everybody else was laughing and drinking, talking and dancing and whatnot. Um, Turns out he really liked the girl who had the house, and she didn't like him, so he was just sitting there sad. Lucky for me. So we're talking. He asked me what I do. I say, well, I do voiceover. He goes, oh, well, there's this new thing called Hulu. They're looking for a voice. Give me your email address. I'll send you an audition. I gave him the address. He sent me an audition. I sent it back a week later. I was the Hulu guy. Now that wasn't making that was making next to nothing to begin with. Within a year or so, it was something. You don't know where your blessings are going to come from, but know they're coming. Know they're coming. All right. Online fetus. That is a weird name. Davey, so glad to see you. Big fan from Telltale, The Walking Dead, and Minecraft Story Mode. Love Lee and Gabriel. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Jeopardy Alpha Mac again. We all have downs in life, but thanks to those, we turn out larger and stronger. Always we do. Hopefully. I think in life things don't always turn out the way you want. But they're definitely not going to turn out the way you want if you don't put in effort. And sometimes it's a good thing they didn't turn out the way you want. Have you ever wanted something, wished for something, wanted this person to be in love with you or something, or this job or this car, or something that later on you discovered, oh, it's a good thing that didn't happen for me because it would have happened to me. I'm not a particularly religious person in terms of naming this or naming that and going to church, but I do believe in a higher power. But I don't think that higher power cares about like football games or, some relationship. Although I do think everything we say, everything we think could be considered prayer because it's all talking to that power, that ultimate laws of metaphysics. I don't like to anthropomorphize God. What we find is everybody thinks God looks like them. It's bigger than that. We can tap into that power, but it's by how we think and what we say and how we act. Oh, let's see. The official mimic. That's just good, solid advice for voiceover or otherwise. Save and live frugally. Oh, yeah. Hard to do sometimes. Right now, when I was redoing the studio, you got to pack everything up. I had to get it out of the room. And you've bought stuff and you got stuff and you got these cables and you got that old microphone and you've got that. And you realize you've been hoarding stuff away that you haven't used in years, haven't even seen it in years. I don't know how many of you have gone through the cable drawer and you got all these cables that don't work for anything, but you kept keeping them because, I might want to connect that to this someday. And now it's 10 years gone and you got a big bag of cables that are worth nothing. Got to get rid of it. I'm a little ashamed of how many little knickknacks and doodads and who's-a-ma-whatchits that I've collected and stuck in a drawer someplace. Oh, I'm going to need this. I'm going to use this. Never used it, never needed it, and now it's just in the way. And my life lesson that I've learned is clutter is counterproductive. I used to say, well, clean desk is a sign of a crazy mind. No, a clean desk is really a good thing. and clean closets and a clean room. And if you looked over there and saw, that's why the camera doesn't point over there, it's not quite clean. There's still a lot of clutter that's got to get out of here. Um, but the things that I have uncluttered um, really makes me just feel better being in that space with the unclutter. Let's see. Andrew, amen. I'm in the last 47 months of what will be a 28-year career. It's a job I tolerate with and provides, but I love VO. Audiobooks have been my jam, but I'm expanding because I will not. Whoops, should have read that faster. Because I will not be 80 and be sorry. Andrew, more power to you, my friend. More power to you. That's one of the things I love about this business. Although it seems like, they're asking for younger and younger and hipper. There's still room for people of age. When I look at who's working now as opposed to who was working when I got in the business, I was one of the very few Black voices. When I looked at what women were doing in promos, for instance, they were 11% of the work of SAG-AFTRA. Well, at that point, it was just AFTRA. Now it's 50%, and they might actually be working a little bit more. And it was pretty much white. Well, now we hear everybody. And that is as it should be. The American voice is not just one thing. And the American look should not just be one thing. There was a time, and for many people out there, they would like that time to continue or come back. Blonde hair, blue eyes, all-American kid. We got all kinds of all-American kids, Black, Latin, Asian, mixed, you name it, we're there. We're there. And we ain't going away. Devon again. I'll watch the rest of this later. Got to go back to work, unfortunately. I'm immensely grateful to have crossed paths with you and look forward to training. All right, well, I look forward to it. Online fetus again. What a name. Online fetus. As a 16-year-old, what can I do to start with voice acting? I'm really looking forward to it and wondering if I might have to partake in acting courses in college. Thank you. It's interesting you say, I'm wondering if I might have to partake in acting courses in college. If you really want to do this, that's probably something you really should be excited about doing. You want to learn how to play tennis. You want to learn, how do I serve? How do I hit that ball? How do I get my back? How do I volley? Something you want to learn, be interested. Soak it all in. Your enthusiasm needs to be high. And as a 16-year-old, my God, the world that you're in as opposed to the world that I grew up in terms of available information, turn on your computer, Google. Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation out there, but there's a lot of good information out there, especially about acting and voiceover. You go to my YouTube channel, Ask Dave Fennoy Anything, they're all there. And there are lots and lots of other voiceover actors and coaches and agents who have a ton of free stuff out there. Get all that free stuff. Spend your time. Immerse yourself. Learn the language before you start paying money so that you don't have that inner dialogue. He said, what was that word he just said? That you're ready to take it in. Okay? Start now. Start now. If you're that kid that does cartoon voices, imitates the people you know, your family, your friends, makes fun of the teacher behind her back or his back, doing imitations of them, you're that person. You're that person that already has been training to do this. Let's see. Stacy, the Walking Dead fan. Hi, Dave. I've been making the Walking Dead game edit videos on my YouTube channel, and also Lee as well. Well, thank you, Stacy. Appreciate that. Grace Newton. There she is. Holy crap. I almost forgot about this. Hello from Raleigh, North Carolina. Every week, Grace from Raleigh. Love it. Olive Garden attached. We are getting some great names here. Hey there, Mr. Fennoy. I've been meaning to catch you live for a while now, and I finally have. Well, there you go. Now, Olive Garden attached, are you a fan of my work or are you a voice actor? Oh, wait a minute. Did she answer already? I'm a big fan of your voice acting. She did. I hadn't even asked the question yet. I'm a big fan of your voice acting, especially that in the Walking Dead series. You are truly phenomenal. Wow. Phenomenal. Thank you. DeAndre Washington. Hey, Dave, the studio setup is looking good. You know what? It is looking good, if I do say so myself. And the official mimic, again, you definitely should take those courses. Look forward to them, my dude. Workshops, classes, online materials. Listen to professional demos, soak it up, and learn what suits your voice and embrace it. Wow, I couldn't have said that better, official mimic. Well done, well done. Little chat room comment here. Terry Briscoe, hi, Grace. Grace, if you didn't see it, Terry said hi, and she almost forgot, but she didn't. Mike Cutting, Grace Newton comes to see us over here. Yeah, and once again. Actually, one of the things I love is the commentary between people in the chat box going. Here's Kelsey V. Yes, wish someone had told me to prioritize training sooner. And you have to have confidence, and at the same time, you need to cultivate a little bit of humbleness. I laugh at myself for what I thought I was going to be able to do when I came to San Francisco to become a disc jockey. Now, I did end up having a really good career in radio much faster than most people would, probably because I had the belief that, I'm ready now. But I kept knocking on the doors. And some of the things I had to do, I wanted to get an internship in a radio station because someone had mentioned that, and they said that's a good way to meet people. And I promise you, people are the conduit to anything that you want to do. So there was one that was a paid internship at KNBR. And so I did whatever it was I was supposed to do. I don't remember if I went in for an interview. I think I did go in for an interview, that they had interviews at certain times. No, I had to write a letter first. And I wrote a letter, and yes, I've graduated from the Columbia School of Broadcasting, also Howard University, and actor, and music, so forth and so on. And I'm looking to begin a career in broadcasting, and I think I'd be perfect for your internship program, blah, 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 blah. And they wrote me back, and they said, well, come in for an interview. I came in for an interview, and they said, well, we'll tell you what, we'd love to have you. Now, you have to type 35 words a minute. We're not going to make you do it now, but we're going to have you come back in a month, and when we will give you a typing test, and if you pass, then you'll be an intern. I didn't know how to type doodly. So I went to Sears. You remember Sears. Are there any Sears still open? So I went to Sears and I bought a typewriter. I think it cost me $60, which at the time seemed like a lot of money. And a ream of paper and a book. Was a sister that was a champion typist, and she had typing lessons. Her picture was on the book. And I started practicing typing every morning. And a month later, I could almost hit that 35 words a minute. I didn't quite make it, but I was close enough, and I think they liked me enough that they'd let it slide. And I got that internship. And I was an intern for 3 weeks. And the next thing I knew, another radio station needed somebody to be a continuity director. And I went over, interviewed. They hired me. I was a continuity director for 8 or 9 months until they fired me because I wanted to be on air. And it's a longer story. When I write the book, it'll be in there, why the whole firing thing. But a couple weeks later, I had another job being a continuity director and commercial writer for a different radio station. And that led to the next gig, which led to the next gig. So you just got to get in there. You don't know where your blessings are going to come from. But if you're just sitting in the house, watching TV, feeling sorry for yourself, ain't nothing going to happen. Well, something will happen, but not what you want. And Stacy Lopez Green, years ago, my first choice agency passed on me. Went to another agent and booked TV roles enough to do VO full time, but my agent is disorganized. It's stressful. Should I approach that first agent again? Well, Stacy, I'm going to say yeah, but not just that first agent. There are several very good agents in town and across the United States and even outside the country. It's a world market now. So most people nowadays in this business will have an agent in LA, New York, San Francisco, Dallas, Miami, maybe Kansas and Cleveland. So you can get the regional work. Yes, sometimes there's going to be a little overlap. Often my agent in New York, my agent in San Francisco is getting some of the same copy that my agent in LA is getting. But it's so prevalent now, your agents know, they're not tripping about it. And I always suggest that whoever your in-town agent is the one you give preference to if you get the same copy on the same day. Now, if your hometown agent gets you that copy late, you can't be waiting around. I remember at one point my agent said, could you just call us and ask us if we're going to get that copy? And at the time I said, well, yeah, sure, okay. I thought about it later and said, I don't have time to make all those calls, and you don't want to take the time to field those calls, and you don't have it. Or let me check and see if I have it, because you're dealing with 300, 400, 500 clients and the people that you have to talk to make the arrangements for your clients to work and audition and so forth and so on. So you're probably, whoever gets it to you first on a particular day, whoever gets it to you first, go with your in-town agent for that day. But if your in-town agent hasn't gotten it to you by end of day, go with who sent it to you. Yeah, definitely knock on those agents' doors. And once you've knocked on their doors, a lot of people will never, ever bother their agent again. They are your partner in this, and they don't know what it is you want to do unless you tell them what you want to do. So if you're somebody who's been doing some commercials, but now you want to do some TV promos, they're not mind readers. Let them know. You want to do some anime, they're not mind readers. They don't know. You've decided that video games are for you. They're not mind readers. You got to let them know. Talk to your agent and ask them what tools you can put together for them to help them sell you. Because if you want to get at video games, you need a video game demo. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Terry Briscoe. My rule of thumb is to go with whatever agent sends it first, unless it's in someone's backyard. It's kind of what I was saying, Terry. Kind of what I was saying. But a couple more questions. And I'm going to ask you, those of you who took that leap into voiceover, what made you take that leap? What made you say, you know what? Now's the time. I want to know that. Uh, did you feel good enough? Or you probably did, or you wouldn't have done it. But are you better now? What did you learn after, say, being in this business for a year or two? Uh, what else did I want to talk about? Let's see, did I miss anybody's comment here? Shell Real, number 49. Humility is huge. It helps keeping you focused on learning. And from way out of the left side, uh, Niners, go Niners. When I was a disc jockey in San Francisco, working under the name Billy David Ocean, I got to meet the Niners. Keena Turner, who was one of their linebackers, I used to interview him on my show every Thursday. Got to have dinner with them several times after they won championships and a couple times Super Bowls. And, I had a point there, and it left me. Oh, no, point was they beat Dallas. And I still remember the catch, Joe Montana. I still remember the catch. Love the Niners. Have loved them. Had some bad years, but they're back, baby. They're back. I'm smelling a Super Bowl. All right, Andrew. Oh my God, I got a radio announcing certificate from CBS in 1991 in Northern Virginia. Oh boy. And in so many ways, it wasn't worth the papers printed on, but it was because it got you in there. I realized after I got into radio that I could have done this without the help of Columbia School of Broadcasting. But what did I know? And I remember there was a time I was in between stations, and I took a job teaching radio. Columbia School of Broadcasting, did a little bit there, and there was another school I don't remember. And I finally left because they were crooks. But the people who would come in, there's a certain skill set you have to have if you're going to be a disc jockey, if you're going to be somebody who does voiceover. And one of those skills is reading. And if you don't read well, you got to practice and learn how to read well. And this school was I'm not talking about Columbia School of Broadcasting, I'm talking about the other one. This school was just accepting anybody that could qualify for the loan. It was rough. It was rough. Stacy Lopez Green, years ago, my first choice agent. Wait a minute. That's, how did I skip down there again? Let's see. Chelsea, I started my VO journey because I was tired of being miserable trying to live other people's definition of a successful life. Always wanted to do VO, and there's no time like the present. Good for you. Good for you. And I mentioned earlier, sometimes the people who are the most discouraging are the people who love you and are trying to show their love for you because they don't have your dream. They don't have your vision. They don't want you to get hurt by, looking up, climbing high, and falling. Let's see, Annabelle. I've wanted to do VO since 2010 after successful stage runs. I'm not good enough yet, but I'm trainable and directable. I'm excited to continue my journey and become full-time one day. And I wish you all the best, Annabelle. And don't be surprised if that happens. Let's see, official mimic. It was jumping off, then getting stuck in a rut, kicking my feet. Okay, all right. 49 is Wakefield's journey. Red Sox fan, 15 years in Boston. Get in the car, go to the bar. Star Market. I lived in Boston briefly in the 70s. And there's some stories to tell there that I don't think I can tell right now. Terry Briscoe, I jumped in during the pandemic like many others. I just couldn't go through the rest of my life, not at least trying to achieve my dream. You know, it's interesting. First time I heard about voiceover, I was like, what? DJ buddy of mine went early in radio. I was writing commercials and being a continuity director. And the morning guy was a buddy of mine. I was getting to work about the time he was leaving and ran into him one day and I said, hey, where you going, man? He says, well, I'm going over to the city to do some voiceover work. I make more money doing that than I do on the radio. And that is a direct quote, and I've directly quoted that quote for years. Then he gave me a 5-minute spiel about what I'd have to do. You got to get a demo, get it over to an agent, then they sign you and blah, 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 blah. I had to ask him, well, what is voiceover? Oh, you know, that's anything you hear on the radio or television that you don't see the person. You know, like cartoons and commercials and those commercials for TV shows and, huh? What? And it was Forest for the Trees right there in front of me all my life. And I didn't really realize that this was a career. And that stuck with me, although I was early in my radio career. I was right at the beginning, but it never left. And I said, well, I'm going to get this radio thing going, and then I'll start that. And I was doing both in the Bay Area for a while. My man, Jay Horace Black. Dave, how do you approach a performance when they give you a sample link? I want you to match the pace, style, and vibe, yet still remain you without mimicking the sample. You know, I hate it when they give just one because I think the tendency is to try to mimic the sample. I always prefer it when they have a couple different ones. But I've been in it long enough that I understand, no, they really don't want you to try to be Morgan Freeman or James Earl Jones. Those are the things that I get sent. They want that feeling of. So perhaps the pacing, perhaps the slowed down phrasing, perhaps that if they're going for a Morgan Freeman sound, they're relaxed, just saying what you've got to say in a slowed down manner. Or James Earl Jones, where they don't want you to do James Earl Jones, but they want the feel of. I'm going to suggest be you. How you, Jay, shows up, and when I say you, Jay, I'm talking about everybody else as well. We all have a wide variety of attitudes and voices that we use when we're happy, when we're sad, when we're tired, when we're scared, when we're excited. All those thoughts and feelings that come through us, we just have to bring them honestly, speaking somebody else's words that we make our own. And if they're saying they give it to me nice and slow and thoughtful, I know, Jay, that you could give it to them nice and slow and thoughtful and still be you. That's what you're looking to do. My biggest takeaway after 2 years is you need to be prepared to learn all those hidden skills like marketing, editing. Oh, man. I am so glad I came along before you needed to do that. I'm not very good at it. I have learned to do a modicum of it. But for years, I just felt like, well, you know, my talent should. And, you know, after a while, you learn, well, everything is advertised. The best product you've ever used on whatever was advertised. That's how you found out about it. And if it wasn't on television or radio, on a billboard that you saw it advertised, it was word of mouth. Your buddy said, man, you got to try insert product here. Advertised. So we have to advertise. You want to advertise your services. You want to make yourself available. You want the market to see you. You want to be able to tell the market who you are and what you do. It's necessary. A whole lot more than I had to do. I did some marketing, but not nearly like people who are in the business now in the last 10 years or so have to do marketing. Let's see, 2 years in, I can tell you I've learned that the only way you make it is through actual sacrifice. You have to really want this. You need to prioritize it. You need to meet people and be willing to learn always. 701. I'm going to leave you with one story here. And Mike, I'm hitchhiking off of what you just said. There was a period, I came to town, started doing voiceover in 1990. At the end of 1990, there was a recession. I had done a couple cartoon, that was a couple cartoon series and a couple other things, and then everything went dead. I had to get back on radio. It took me a couple of months, but I ended up working part-time at KACE here in town. And at one point, about, 6 months into 91 or so, the program director at KACE took a job at Jazz FM and brought me over to do mornings. And I did mornings there for a couple of years before I quit radio for good. But I was a morning guy, and there was a young lady who was doing middays, and she knew I did voiceover. And while I was there, my career just took off, and morning drive was the perfect time because I was out at 10 and I could get to ABC or CBS or in any of the networks, Disney Channel or whatever. And every time about this year, maybe a month earlier, she'd say, "Hey, listen, help me get a demo together so I can get that Christmas work." And every year I told her, and we were friends after the fact, so she even did this after I was off the radio. I would tell her, "Girl, you can't just think of this as, oh, I'm going to jump in and get some seasonal work because I've been a DJ and I know how to read copy. Being on the radio doesn't necessarily qualify you as a voiceover actor. And that's not who the market's looking for. You're going to have to either do this full time or not worry about it." She never did. So she never did get a career. Had she had the talent to have a career, but talent ain't all of it. You got to put in the work, baby. You got to put in the work. And I am going to leave you with that. I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to talk about this evening. I knew I wanted to mention Israel and Hamas and just the horrible brutality there. And I don't know when or how we as human beings are going to stop doing this to each other. But we need to stop doing this to each other. And I'm glad to have been able to talk about the other things we talked about voiceover-wise. And thank you once again. Next week, I believe I'll have a guest. A couple people weren't able to do it tonight, so you just got me. But we got some great guests coming up, and I'll let you know about those as we hit next week. By the way, I should say, looking at my calendar, on the 25th, I will not be here. I will be hosting a charity event for my buddy jazz pianist Billy Mitchell. He raises money for the Watts Willowbrook Youth Symphony. Actually, I raise money for them too with Backyard Jazz. Haven't been able to do that since the pandemic, but we used to have concerts in the backyard, raise money, and donate to his charity. And we're going to be doing that again. But I'm going to be hosting a concert that he and his wife are giving on that Wednesday evening. So I won't be here then. But I'm letting you know why in advance. So, in the meantime and in between time, 2 seats left for, let's say we can just pop right back there. Voice acting for video games workshop Saturday and Sunday, October 21st and 22nd, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you want to do video games, you need to do this. And with that, I'm going to take my leave, have some dinner, and encourage you to book something.